Hey everybody, it's Kenny K again, and I got a new horror movie called Mutant from 1984. Gets 5.1 on IMDb, gets a 5 out of 10 for me. Not because it's 5.1, but I use a half system, 5, 5.5. It's the same as 5.1. It deserves that number. It's basically a story, if you've seen Salem's Lot from 1979, I think it's 79 from the great Toby Hooper, written by Stephen King, where where a stranger comes into town, with David Soul and Bonnie Bedelia, whereas you got two brothers. One is, always have to see that. One is Josh Cameron, and the other is Mike Cameron. And Josh Cameron is played by Wings Hauser. Now I know that name, and so I looked it up. But he only did like television shit, TV shit, series shit, like House and D, popular, but only one episode. All these one episode things. So, and he looks like one of the Buseys, Gary Busey, Jake Busey. He has those teeth and those eyes. I mean, yeah, it always looks like that. And you got Bo's Derek. No, sorry, Bo Hopkins. Sorry, Bo Hopkins as a Sheriff Will Stewart. So they arrive there. They're in their car, and then they get in a scruffle on the road with a bunch of rednecks. And they're clearly rednecks because they have all these flags of the Confederacy on their car, and the entire movie is littered with Confederacy flags of the Confederacy, because you've got one American flag, and that's on the desk of the sheriff. So they're they're basically driving them off the road from the wooden bridge in the pond. They're not dead, but their car is stuck in the pond, and they now have to hitch. They eventually find somebody to take them to a certain crossroad. He's acting really funny. He has a shotgun hanging there. He says, "Are you a hunter? A hunter for long, large things." Yes. And that's already weird that he says it like that. But, I mean, eventually he says, "Can you guys? I can't give you the full ride, but it's 1.5 miles to the gas station, to the town." Sorry. Eventually, he before okay, they get out, and before Mike can get out, the youngest brother, he takes his arm and says, "Don't stay too long. If everything is fixed, leave." He goes. He says something through a car PC and a car radio. He says, "Strangers arrived, but see that they leave." Okay, so we already know this guy is suspicious. They go to town, which is apparently like 7 miles for so that's where he lied. They find this hobo, and this hobo basically gets killed, that they don't see, by this other person who takes him by the neck, and all steam is coming off, and he he's dead. Mike finds his body. He says, "Oh, what the fuck happened to him? Look at that, Josh." Josh finds a body. They find a bar. They go to the bar. They see there's a body on the other side of the street. Really? Call the sheriff. Calling the sheriff. Of course, those fucking rednecks are there playing some pool, and what you get is a fist fight, and the sheriff arrives, and that's what I like about Bo Hopkins. He's a presence, He's always a presence. If he's there, "Don't fuck with me, boy." Okay, like that. And they all like, "Okay, okay, sure." We're gone. We gone. We know. We know the. We know the message. Ah, boy, listen up. I don't want any strangers in this town. So, he's like, you know, he's like that kind of sheriff. But they say they found a body. He goes to look for the body, and it appears to be another guy. The town drunk. He says, "Go home, Cletus." But he also finds this yellow goo where he takes a sample from for, but it almost burns him. Now what happens is um, he brings him to the one doctor in town to patch them up because one had a gash by a bottle, and the nurse, and he gives the sample to the doctor, to this doctor, and says, "Can you look at it for me because it almost burned me, so watch out." Okay, but don't let these boys, she doesn't want him to let these guys leave at the dead of night. It's the middle of fucking nowhere, this town in the sticks. Maybe 200-300 people live there. Let them stay with Madame Meves in her boarding house, a B&B. So it's like I said, it's like Salem's Lot. It's also, and that's a little spoiler because I'm almost going for the spoilers. This movie is basically mutants. Is basically about vampires. It's almost like vampires. So they go to Meve's house. And Josh says, Wings Hauser says, "Oh, are we here? Something? Are you alone here?" "Yes, yes, yes. My daughter sadly passed away a few years ago." "Oh, that's sad." They get a nice room. Mike gets a nice room, a nicer room, and then eventually he wakes up. He gets okay. Okay, so spoilers before I start with that. This movie, is this a good movie? Like I said, if you've seen Salem's Lot, it's kind of the same deal, only in a rapid pace. And there are, for me, no non-real scary moments, eerie moments. For like Salem's Lot for me was eerie. The entire town was completely deserted. It looked eerier, like the toy car on its side and the wheels still going. It was eerie. This here didn't feel like that at all, because at that moment the entire town was already pretty much a mutant, because we're dealing here with mutant zombies, vampires. So that's a mouthful. That have a gash in their hands, and that gash is that uh, green orange liquid that the sheriff took with him and gave to the doctor, and it acts like acid, but they need to feed from human blood like a vampire. Here or from there, it doesn't matter. They need to feed like a vampire, and they cannot withstand light, and they look grayish like vampires, but also like zombies. You can say, "Oh, they look like Dawn of the Dead zombies from 1970, from George Romero's 76. I'm not, but they also look like vampire. They do like this, so it's vampirism. Acting. The only good one was Bo Hopkins, but he and Dr. Myra Tate. That's the doctor who uh, cared for the gash. We also have a character coming in that's named Holly, the teacher of the local high school, but she's now working in the tavern where they got beaten up. But she's working in day there, and she's working there because everybody's sick, which is weird because it's a rather big school. So, okay. So what happens is Mike gets dragged with from with his feet underneath the bed, and gone is Mike. Josh doesn't find him anymore. He goes to a gas station. It's closed. He goes to the bar. It says the gas station is that gonna open to Holly. She says nope, but you've got a gas station 4 miles in the on the other side of this of the town. 4 miles. I'll give you a ride, she says. But if you those don't mind if I we pass to school. And then she says she's a teacher and this and this and that. We love we see a love connection growing, and they go in, and she gets something from her class, and Billy, a boy that she know, is sitting there, and he says, "Oh, I can't go home." Why? Because my parents are dead. My parents are gone. No, he says not dead but gone. Sure, they will come back. Just go home and they'll come back. Eventually, later on, there's this small plot hole that comes back, and then basically shit hits the fan from there. Um, when they're in the school, Josh Wingshauer, he's in the basement because they hear something, and a child body falls on him. But it's not a body, it's already a mutant, but that's not really activated yet. And then we have one of the rednecks, the guy behind the wheel, and the guy that's sort of the lead redneck, who wants to pick a fight with him. And Josh is like a sissy. The guy is big. Why? Bigger than redneck. He's got a wooden stick. Josh has a metal stick. He always loses the stick. He fumbles over his feet like an imbecile. Eventually, how does he? What happens? Jesus Christ! What happens again with the guy? He gets. I think oh yeah, right. The sheriff comes in, and on gunpoint, and of course he stops. Yeah, that was it. That was it. Then of course, the captain, the state troopers captain is involved. He says, bring the body to the coroner, and that's it. And you stay here and just look out for things, because the sheriff is a booze hound, and he knows that, and he's like, you fucking booze hound, you should just stay here. And because he doesn't take the body to the coroner, because the doctor asks for the body, the captain, he knows about this, and eventually he gets suspended. But the doctor, and that's the stupid thing, so the doctor is basically my doc is also a mutant fucking doc. The doctor at some point has this machine around her neck, a tape recorder, and she's talking blah 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 blah, blah about the child zombie mutant. And behind her, her assistant is asking, "Can I go home earlier? I'm feeling sick." Yeah, yeah, that's no problem. 5 feet after her, he's completely. And there's just an open room, so they can hear, and there's no music. She doesn't have anything in her ears. You hear him changing into a mutant zombie, and she's like, blah 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 blah. I swear to God, she doesn't have anything in her ears. She doesn't have whatever the fuck. They're in the same room basically. And then eventually, she eventually turns her back, and then she sees him standing there with and touching her, and like I said, like it's almost like acid, like from Alien. And eventually she's doing the most stupid things to, you know, get away from him. Here's a wheelchair in front of you. Here's a table in front of you. She gets backed into a corner and she's dead. We don't see how she gets killed, but we see that the assistant grabs her. We see then at this point what happens then, because there's this moment when Holly sees Billy walking away in the school. She goes after him, and I thought, oh, this is gonna be this is gonna be, you know, he's a zombie, or I'm calling them zombies. You know, he's a mutant. He's a mutant, just mutant, and he's gonna, you know, lure her in that other mutant kids can feed from her. She finds him in the bathroom like this, and then you think, oh no, yeah, oh shit. That was the only moment that I thought, oh, this is maybe creepy. She's gonna be lured in and killed by a bunch of. That reminded me from Resident Evil Apocalypse with Mila Jovovich, where the reporter goes into the classroom and she sees that kid zombie, and then all the kid zombies attack her. That was a creepy scene. But then she says, I'm gonna take care of you now. And then all the kid zombies come in the toilet. She's taking Billy into the toilet. Eventually, she stands on a pot, on the toilet pot, and he has to stand on the ground. They take him by the leg. They're pulling together. Fuck it. Here's Billy, munch on him. And then you see how gory this movie actually not is. They're just hugging him like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And then you see some smoke coming on. And you don't see any blood. You don't see a drop of blood in this entire movie. Wings Hauser, Josh, is now again about Mrs. Meave to look for his brother, and then he said she says something wrong, that her daughter is sick, and he said he didn't have a daughter. She died. No, she's sick, and she eventually pushes him in the basement. He can't get out. She locks it. He finds his dead brother. He's like, oh, so he can't. Sorry, but Wings Hauser, I know the name, but he's not a good actor. Sorry for the people that like him, but he's not a good actor. Then he sees Mrs. Meave's daughter in a vampire, in a mutant. He wants to escape through this tiny window. He crashes through, but of course the mutant takes the legs. He's burning him. He comes back out. He can't fight for shit. Just take one of these bats that are lying around and just cave her head in. No, he goes back. Now apparently he can open the door, and Mrs. Meave is standing there with a cleaver, misses him. He pushes her towards her daughter, and then of course she gets killed by her own daughter. So she was also the one who killed Mike. She was apparently let loose in the house. Now, the thing is, so they eventually get together back with Holly. He saves Holly from the kids in the bathroom. There's again, oh, Billy, I lost Billy, I said this and this and that. And then the sheriff is in the doctor's office, and he finds her corpse. She's super clean. She's not a mutant. She doesn't have any mutant things on her. The mutants are coming in. He's shooting them. It appears one shot is enough to kill one, and he eventually he gets bum rushed by the mutants. Josh and Holly arrive, and they find his cap and his gun, and they think he's dead. They go to this supply store, make Molotov cocktails. They're surrounded, and who we got there is the head. I'm actually they said his name multiple times. I didn't care. The head redneck that fucked with him, and he's there with a shotgun, and he says, I'm gonna use Harley as my getaway ticket." Eventually, um, Josh overmasters him for the first time. He gets him with a rope, and he he does like this, and then takes the gun away. Give me a reason. Give me a fucking reason. He's like that. It's Mr. Action now, but eventually he takes the girl again immediately, and then the mutants storm in, take the girl out, take the redneck out of there, munch on him, whatever. And then we see them throwing the Molotov cocktails, but they're over swarmed. And then we see all lights going on, and like what looks to be like what looks like police pickup trucks with big lights, shotguns. They're killing all the mutants. Who's in there? Bo Hopkins. He's apparently one of the team, and that's how the movie ends. Now, for me, this movie was a little bit lackluster. It's a compilation of Salem's a Lot, a really fast compilation of the movie Salem's a Lot. I did not like the fact there's not a blue, and it's not because I am a gore hound, but if you're working with fucking vampires that can just burn you, you should see some wounds to make it a little bit more realistic. The eeriness wasn't there. It should be, because if you're alone in this deserted town, you should be. Also, a plot point that I forgot to mention is the reason why there's so many mutants there is because these rednecks opened a rednecks, and I mean rednecks, opened a waste containment compound. But the thing is, the waste is going into this, and the leader of this compound is the guy who, in the beginning picked him up. Remember, with the radio PC, or what they call. And eventually it's Wings Hauser that gets in there, and he gets saved by Holly, and blah 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 blah. But you never hear of them again. Never. Few fall in the pit where all the waste is in, but they never said that they had a waste, disposal somewhere, a leak. So the movie was, for me, a little bit. One, this movie had to be longer. Two, a little bit more gore would be appreciated. Three, a little bit more fleshing out of the characters, not just saying, "Hi, I'm Josh, and my we're brothers. I'm Gary Busey's older brother." No, older brother. No, I wanted Bo Hopkins to have more role. Dr. Myra Tate, she looked like an intelligent woman. So more role. Holly looked like a well, she was a teacher and should be more intelligent, right? No, every time it was my hero. No. And yeah, listen, it's a combination between Salem's Lot and a B zombie movie at the end when they all get rushed, through the windows. It's like Shaun of the Dead, in the bar when they all get rushed, but at the end they all get saved by the military. Is that kind of ending? Yeah. So it gets a 5 out of 10 for me. It's an okay watch if you want to see some mutant action. You want to see Bo Hopkins, if you're a Wings Hauser fan. There are a few good moments, but in, too too few in between, and it's an okay watch. 1984. It's free on YouTube. That's something, right? So subscribe and see you next time. Bye bye.